Welcome, class, to your video on creating a Google Doc for the two-way frequency table project. Okay, so I already created a video for Google Forms. If you're looking for that video, just go to my CCA topic. You also can find the document that I'm going to be going over. You can find a link to that there. Okay, so this video is specifically on creating a Google Doc, which most of you already know how to do, but then also how to create a frequency table and then a relative frequency table for that Google Doc and how I want it formatted. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. How do I create a Google Doc? I just go to docs.google.com. And from here, that's going to take you to your Google Drive and Google Docs specifically. And I'm just going to go ahead and create a blank document. So go ahead and click blank, boom. And then I'll title this document two-way frequency table project. And it's probably a good idea to put your name. So Kevin Minier, Mr. Minier, whatever. Two-way frequency table project. Awesome. So you've got it titled. Get rid of that. Now, what am I not going to go through here? I'm not going to go through exactly how I want every single thing formatted. I think at this point you know how to like format sections in a document. You know, maybe you want to do bullet points. Maybe you want to do like just simple bold, like section 1, introduction. You know, maybe you want to do it like that. And then, you know, in this project, have your video, or have your introduction there. And then section 2. What is the section 2? Section 2 is questions, questions. And then, maybe you want to have a bulleted list here for this one, like question 1 for, what were my questions? I don't know. Let's go to forms.google.com. I'm going to bring up my form here so I can remember what my questions are. I guess I'll just go through the basic formatting, might as well. Just to help you out. You obviously want to have your name at the top. You want to have, Kevin Minier, PreAlgebra honors, block 7, right? Is it block 7? No, block 6. Okay. And then a lot of times it's really nice to have that actually right justified rather than left justified. That's a nice look, I think. And then put your title and, two-way frequency table project. I've already written it up there, so I might as well just use it again. And then make that centered. And then generally you want this to be bigger, 18, sure. And you don't want this in bold. Okay, so that's just example formatting. I mean, obviously you don't have to format it exactly like this, but I mean, it's just a nice way to, it's a nice look, right? And then I like this Montserrat. That's a nice font. I like that font. I also like Comforta. No, I don't really like that one. I like Montserrat. It's a nice one. I like how that looks. So questions. Okay, what was my first question? Number 1 is what's your favorite food? What is your favorite food? Question number 2 was what is your favorite day of the week? What is your favorite day of the week? And then finally, what is your favorite color? What's your favorite color? What is your favorite color? Now, obviously, these questions have no semblance to like what questions you're going to ask. They're just random questions. Okay, that's all I want for that section. And then section 3 was what? Section 3 is frequency tables and relative frequency tables. So now for this section, you actually, I want you to create a brand new page for this section, as odd as that might seem. So you could do insert and then break, page break, boom. And so that's gonna go ahead. Oh, so actually I want to do the insert page break right here. So insert break, page break, and it's going to bring it to a new page. And then like you can type whatever you want up here. And sorry, whoopsies. Oh man, okay. Let's try this again. Insert page break. The good thing about a page break is then I can go ahead and type anything up here and hit enter as many times as I want. And it's not going to affect the spacing down here because it's just a brand new page and it knows that that's supposed to start on a brand new page. So section 3, tables. So two-way frequency tables and relative frequency tables. Okay, so this for your first page in this section, you might want to have section 3 up there. That just looks nice. But then you actually want to have as a title, what is your favorite food? Okay, so what is your favorite food? Um, make that centered. Yes, it's already centered. Good. And then, sure, 18. Okay, so now that I've got this, I want to go ahead and create my tables. Okay, the clip that I just cut out was me just randomly creating responses for this survey. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this data, and we're going to create two-way frequency tables from this data, okay? So two-way frequency tables and relative frequency tables. All right, so here we go. Ready? Now, the first thing I want to think about is what the size of my table is going to be. So let's create one for what's your favorite food. So I have 3 answer choices, and it's broken down to male and female. And I'll be able to see individual responses here. Okay, so I can figure out which was male and which was female in terms of the responses that they gave. So in order to create this table, what I want to do is create insert table, and I want one column just for that first column, which is going to have information in there, male and female, and then one column for each potential answer, and then one column for the total. So for this, I'm going to have one on the left, one on the right, and then one column for each answer choice. So I have 3 answer choices, so that's going to mean 5 in total. And then I'm going to have a top row, and then one row for male, one row for female, and then one final row for my totals. Once I've created the table, I can go ahead and start entering in from my information. So here I know my total row, or sorry, total column. Maybe make it centered. Put bold, total. I want that to be bold, bold, and then copy that and paste that here. So this will be my grand total here. And then I want this to be male and female. And a lot of times it's nice when you're making tables to have that be right justified. I think that looks nice. Not everybody agrees with me, I'm sure, but there you go. So male, female, and then you want one column header for each answer choice. So that's broccoli, asparagus, and chocolate. I'm actually going to put it in alphabetical order. Asparagus, broccoli, broccolia, and chocolate, only one H. And I'm going to go ahead and make that centered. Awesome. So now I'm ready to input my data. Okay, so I have to figure out my totals first. So the totals are easy because the totals are available right there in the summary. To figure out your male and female, okay, it's 50% and 50%, so that's 3 and 3. So for each one of your tables, it's going to be the same number of males and females. Okay, so we've got the beginnings of our table, and we've got our totals in there for male and female. And we can also put our grand total in there because we know that we have 6 total responses. So that's our grand total. And then we can also figure out pretty easily here how many people chose broccoli: 3, 2 chocolate, and 1 asparagus. So 3 total people chose broccoli, 2 in total chose chocolate, and 1 total chose asparagus. And now the question is, how do I figure out the breakdown of the data? And in order to do that, I have to go to the individual responses. So here I look and I see this person was a male, and this person preferred broccoli. So really the best way to do this would be to like create a tally chart that you can just tally it, check it off on a piece of paper, and then fill in your final data. But I'll just put 1 here for now, and then I'll add another if it comes up. Okay, so that's the first response. Go to the next response. This person preferred chocolate, and it was a female, so make that 1. Next response. This person preferred broccoli and was a male, so that's another 1. Male that prefers broccoli. And next response, person preferred broccoli and was a female. So that's 1 there. 5th response, chocolate and was a male. So chocolate, male, 1 there. And then finally, this person preferred asparagus and was a female. So 1 asparagus, female, and that leaves 0 because I'm done with my responses. Now, however you want to do this is fine with me, but what I suggest is that you go through each survey one at a time and create a little tally chart where you can kind of just create this on a piece of paper, create a simple table on a piece of paper, and then create 1 for each one. So like for what is your favorite food, and then for the next question, which was what's your favorite day of the week, and then 1 for what is the last one? Gosh, I forget the last question. What's your favorite color? So create that on a piece of paper, and then just keep tallies for each one in like an actual handwritten one, and then fill it in on a computer. To me, that seems like it's going to be the easiest way to do it. So because then you'll be able to go through each survey one at a time, and you'll be like, okay, this person was a female. They like chocolate, check. Favorite day of the week was Friday, check on the next table, or tick mark. And what's your favorite color? Green. And so you put little tallies in the appropriate tables, and then you go to the next survey and then mark it down. That's probably going to be the fastest and easiest way to do it, but it's up to you. Either way, the point is that that's how you analyze the data, right? You look at each survey one at a time, figure out the gender, and then get the answers, and then fill it in. So here I have my completed two-way frequency table for the first question, what is your favorite food? So cool. And I want to make sure it adds up. Yeah, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 6. Awesome. So that's how I can confirm that the data is correct. And I should probably put a title here, two-way frequency table. So I know this is the two-way frequency table. And then I'm just going to go ahead and copy it. Oops. And then paste it and say two-way relative frequency table. Okay, so now I need to calculate percentages, and I just do that by dividing all these numbers by the grand total. So this is going to go away. I would prefer it as percentages. It could be decimals, but I think it'll be cool to put it as percentages. So, percentage of the grand total here, this is 100%. This is clearly 50%. This is clearly 50%. And then to get these, it's actually really easy. So, sorry, to get these, it's going to be probably harder for you because it's not just 3 and 3, probably not 50-50. But if you just go to the summary, it actually gives you the relative frequency already. So 50%, 50%. But it might be 43 and 57 for you, but whatever, it'll give it to you right there. And the same is true in your summary for the totals of your different responses to each question. So we see 50% is broccoli, which makes sense. That's 3, so 50%. And you know what? I changed my mind. I want these not in percentages. I want them in decimal. So 0.5, 0.5, This is going to be 0.5. Chocolate, oh gosh, I changed my mind again. You know what? It's going to be easier because it's already in percentage there. So yeah, just keep it in percent. All right, 50%, 50%. And then chocolate is 33.3%. And then asparagus is 16.7%. Cool. Now to get the rest of these values, I'll just take the number in the two-way frequency table and divide it by the grand total. So this is obviously 0%. And I know that 1 is just 16.7%. Broccoli is 2 out of 6, which is 33.3%. If I did 2 divided by 6, that's what I'd get. And then both of these are 1, so they're both 16.7%, 16.7%, and 16.7%. Okay, so now here's the deal. This is a two-way frequency table and a two-way relative frequency table. So this shows you just percentages of the total. So out of the total, the number of people that you responded to your survey, 33.3% were males that liked broccoli. 16.7% were females that liked chocolate. And 16.7% in total were people that liked asparagus, whether they were male or female. 50% were male and 50% were female. So it shows you just the different percentages. Now, it's important to understand that this is not conditional relative frequency. So this is not the percentage of females that like asparagus. That is not 16.7%. Okay, so I know in our earlier meeting I mentioned that you are only going to have to do a two-way frequency table and a two-way relative frequency table. But in developing this project, I realized that really in order to figure out whether or not there's an association, you really need another one. You need a two-way conditional relative frequency table. So let's just copy and paste that. And there we go. Two-way conditional relative frequency table. And what I'd like you to do is make it conditional upon given that it's a male or a female. So what you're going to figure out here, all these totals are going to be 100% because obviously 100% of males are male and 100% of females are female. And then the rest of them you're going to divide by the grand total. These values down here are going to stay the same. It's just these values here that are going to be different. So how are you going to create these values? You'll take this number and divide it by this. So 0 divided by 3 is 0%. 2 divided by 3 is 67% approximately. And 1 divided by 3 is 33%. Awesome. And then I do the same thing for the female row, and I see actually that they're all 1. So they're all the same percentage, 1 over the total of females, which is 33%. Awesome. So from this, I can determine what associations there are. I can see that there is no association between being male and female or liking chocolate because all the people in whether you're male or female, you have a 1 in 3% chance of liking chocolate. But I can see there is an association between being male or female and liking broccoli because if you're a male, you're twice as likely to like broccoli as a female because it's 67% versus 33%. And there's also an association between being male or female and liking asparagus because you see that as a male, there's no chance that you like asparagus apparently, but for females, there's a 1 in 3 or 33% chance that you like asparagus. Okay, so I know this switched it up a little bit. So you're going to actually be creating 3 tables for each question, a two-way frequency table, a two-way relative frequency table, and a two-way conditional relative frequency table. Now, these tables are going to help you to make conclusions. It's going to say, oh, half the people like broccoli, and oh, there's an association between being male or female and liking broccoli or liking asparagus, where there's no association between being male or female and liking chocolate. So these tables are going to give you a really great opportunity to make lots of conclusions about your data. So these are your 3 tables that you're going to do for each question that you've made, okay? All right, so moving on, I think that's pretty clear. So let's move on to section 4. Section 4 is conclusions, and that we already discussed. You're going to include at least one conclusion for each question. So what would that look like for this? I could insert a page break here. So insert break, page break, and then do section 4, conclusions. And then I could say something like, and I speak about it clearly up here. Conclusions should be formally presented such as male students are more likely to respond blank to the question of this. So I could say, for instance, male students are twice as likely to, male students are twice as likely to choose broccoli as their favorite food. So twice as likely as females to choose broccoli as female students to choose broccoli as their favorite food. That's one way to put it. Another way that you could put it, how do I say it here? Female students are more likely to have experienced blank during distance learning. Sure, whatever it means. So just create your conclusions, and I want one conclusion at least per question. So you can probably do subheadings and say like question 1, what is your favorite food? And then it's clear that this conclusion is about that question. And then you could do it for question 2 and question 3, and then move on to section 5, and that's discussion. And what do I talk about in discussion? I say, hey, discussion, what do you find interesting about the conclusions? If you were to conduct this interview again, what follow-up questions? Okay, so you're going to answer those questions, but I think it's fairly obvious, so maybe I would say something like, I was surprised that males liked broccoli more than females because I know a lot of boys that don't like broccoli. Sure, don't like broccoli. I don't know. And maybe a follow-up question would be a good follow-up question would be to ask how the students liked their broccoli cooked. Maybe they all like fried broccoli or something like that. And then finally, how could this process be improved in this future? In order to improve this process, I could include more food choices in this question. And I'd like you to have a discussion for each question. So don't just discuss one question, have a discussion for the results of each question, okay? And so you're gonna have a discussion for question 1, a discussion for question 2, and a discussion for question 3. Now, this in some ways is a lengthy project, but it's doable, okay? So the tables might take you the longest time. The conclusions and the discussion might take you some time to put your words together and articulate. But remember, I'm not looking for you to write essays here. I'm just looking for you to be factual. This is math class. So be factual, be straight to the point. Don't use fluff. There's no need for that. Just get straight to the point about what you're trying to discuss and what the conclusions are. And that's pretty much it. So this is basically what your project is, and you're going to have, again, like I said, you're going to have one page for each question and for your tables, and then you're just going to go ahead and share it with me. So how do you share? You'll just click share. When you're done, type in Kevin Me, you'll find me, and hit send, and that'll share it with me directly. Cool. So I think that covers everything for this video. Remember, it's due on May 4th. I think that covers everything for this project. So that's it for me for now. You can always chat with me if you have any questions about the project or you need help in any way, shape, or form. I'm glad to help you guys. All right, so that's it. Love you guys. Till next time, enjoy mathematics.